Should be in business now. All right, so I'm see if I can pull up this video on what Shabak is talking about. Because this is news to me. I ain't hearing nothing about this transgender situation or whatever in Maryland. Let me see. Transgender sparring or fencing.
Hey, Twin, what's going on with you, man? Yeah, please hit the chat room. Okay, man, because they're giving us a bunch of bullshit again because they don't like the truth of what we say. Not that we really care. We care, you don't care.
Shabaka.
Yes, sir.
Is it the fencer that took a knee?
Yes, sir. The fencer that took a knee. Right. The reason why she took the knee is because she's not going to compete against a man.
All right, hold on, Shabaka. I'm going to pull the clip up.
Hey, Matt 285. Yeah, thank you for joining us, man. You know, we're trying to get this shit up, man. But they fucking with us, man. You know?
Yeah. You got a special edition going on, Okay, so the first topic is this female fencer refused to compete against this transgender. This is a man.
Right. Yeah.
Screen, Shabaka.
I'm sorry?
Can you see the screen?
Okay, let me see here.
Can you see the computer screen?
Yeah, I'm looking at the computer screen. Okay, but I don't see it. All I see is just live 25 minutes and 36 minutes into it. I see.
Okay, you gotta add it. You gotta add it at the bottom, Shabaka.
Oh, I see it. Add the stage. Yes, sir. Okay, that right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So the video from College Park, Maryland. Female fencer.
Okay, how do I play the video?
She did it by taking a knee and refusing to compete against a biological male. We're interested in a female fencer stands up for fairness in women's sports. She did it by taking a knee and refusing to compete against a biological male at a tournament over the weekend. The referee's response, a black card, the sport's most severe penalty, which means expulsion from the tournament. Let's bring in the athlete at the center of it all, Stephanie Turner. And Stephanie, thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give you
So this was an Olympic qualifying event. My understanding of it is.
Banner.
This was something that you had prepared all your life for. It wasn't an Olympic qualifying event. I'm sorry. I had heard that this morning. It was an important event, though. And this is something that you've been preparing for an awfully long time. You decided that you were going to take yourself out of the tournament. What was the thinking in leading up to the decision?
Where you took Jamboree.
Right. So this was actually a regional tournament held by the USFA at the University of Maryland. So part of my pre-competition ritual is to check the online registration to see who is going to be there and just double check my check-in times. And on the registration list, I saw Redmond Sullivan's name listed there. And I recognized this individual from a previous Redux article that had been written saying that this person was a man who had previously competed on the men's team at Wagner and was now competing as a woman within the USFA.
Okay, there it is.
So from that point, I just got really disappointed with the USFA and with this tournament, and I just felt like at a loss. I'd already committed so much money to it and training hours, and I was literally looking forward to this. I do this tournament every year. Yeah. I think this may be like my 10th year in a row doing this tournament.
And she should get compensated for it.
I just got really sad and I started crying because this was like the last thing I wanted to deal with in my competition.
So at one point in the video, so we see you take a knee and then the official comes over. What did you say to the official at that point?
So the official came over to me and asked if I was still refusing to fence, and I said yes. Oh, and are you talking about initially,
Yes.
or when I got the black card?
No, initially.
Initially, I told them that I was refusing to fence because this person is a man and I am a woman, and this is a women's tournament, and I refuse to fence on principle.
And then later, right after this, we see your opponent comes over. What did you say to your opponent at that point?
My opponent was a little bit confused, thinking that I was maybe hurt. And I said, no, I am refusing to fence you because I'm a woman and you are a man. I have much love and respect for you, but I will not compete against you.
Wow.
And he responded, okay, well, there's a, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sorry, what was his response?
His response was, okay, but there's a member of the board of directors here and he supports me. And there's a policy that says that I'm a woman and I'm allowed to compete in the women's tournament. And if you do this, you're going to get black carded. And I said, I know.
So here's what USA Fencing said in a statement to Fox News Digital. USA Fencing enacted our current transgender and non-binary athlete policy in 2023. The policy was designed to expand access to the sport of fencing and create inclusive, safe spaces. It goes on to talk more. But this idea about inclusive, safe spaces, what about inclusive, safe spaces for female athletes?
Exactly.
Right. There's nothing for me and there's everything for him. Because I have no choice as a woman, as a female, in where I compete. I am a woman and I have an athletic disadvantage to men, so I compete in the women's division, which is where I rightfully am. But he has been given this opportunity to fence in the women's division, and he can compete. He can easily compete in the men's division. He can also compete at mixed events in local tournaments if he wants. Yeah. There is a place for him. So the idea that they're creating. They're expanding the women's is just essentially making it an open tournament that can include men, and it ends up hurting me and other girls. So
you've got the support of Riley Gaines, who was on our network earlier today, and former tennis star Martina Navratilova, who put this out on X. She said, this is what happens when female athletes protest. Anyone here still think this is fair? I am fuming, and shame on USA Fencing. Shame on you for doing this. How dare you throw women under the gender BS bus? I mean, this doesn't come at the expense of male athletes. Yeah. We don't see this in the flip side of the coin. This all comes at the expense of female athletes like yourself, like Riley Gaines, like the girls who lost that race by 7 seconds in Oregon, like the girls who lost the pole vault event in Maine. I mean, this is happening across the country, and to a large degree, women support this.
Right, it's happening in every sport and at every level, and there's really no option to go around this when there are extremists who take up positions within the authoritative body of the USFA. So I have very little option other than being forced to fence. And I have gone down other pathways, like back in 2023 Summer Nationals, I just didn't sign up to fence in the Div 1A women's foil because there was another transgender person that I'd recognized in that tournament. So, I mean, I've avoided it as much as I can, but at what point do I have to just avoid all tournaments altogether because there's going to be somebody who's trans there?
Shabaka, can you pull up the comments?
It's a tough choice. As you point out, your opponent had two choices. Could compete as a biological male or could compete in the women's. You have the choice of competing in the women's. So, Stephanie, thank you for telling your story. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, there's comments.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here.
Okay.
Dumpster fire.
Okay, supposedly the comments are supposed to okay, yeah, I'm showing the chat now.
Okay. So you should be able to click on each one and it should pull up on the screen.
Okay. I did show chat is what I got up right here. Exit full screen. Okay. And private chat, okay.
Not a private chat, go to comments. and you should be able to click on each one.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, we got comments right here. Okay. All righty. And I'm going to read some of the comments here. Twin Pyramid, he's in there with us with the power sign and the fire. And Twin Pyramid says, peace and respect to all. Thank you, Twin Pyramid. Mac 285, what's going on, my brothers?
On the screen, Shabaka.
Now, how would I do that?
By clicking on them.
All right, hold on. Okay, show. Okay. Okay. And show. Okay. Okay, show. Okay.
We're doing
the Mac 285. Okay, and twin, show. Okay. Mac 285, show. Okay, twin. Okay, show. That.
What happened?
Okay, Mac 285 is saying, wow.
Yeah.
Jab Jamboree's in here with us. He says salute. Okay, Jab Jamboree. Got you up there. Why the card had to be black. That's what Mac 285 says.
Yeah, he's learning fast. 285.
Okay, we got our copyright disclaimer here showing that. Okay. All right, Frontline Black News showing that. Okay. Okay, and showing that. Okay. Showing this, okay, showing our comments, okay, here, and Twin Pyramid, and which you are absolutely right about, this shit is sick. Wait a minute, okay. Yeah, Mac 285 says Shabaka'S learning fast.
Yeah.
Okay, Twin, I'm doing the best I can, and Obama, Mac 285 says Obama was the catalyst for this bullshit, which he's right about. And Mac 285 says, showing that he blames Tampon Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the dude who was shoving ketchup up his ass, right?
Yeah. That's the one that wanted tampons in the men's bathroom.
Wanted tampons in the men's bathroom. Okay. This is insanity, people. This is downright insanity, okay? And we also are putting it up here on YouTube as well, too, okay?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, Shabaka. Just keep going. Keep going with the comments. Just go down the list.
Okay. All right, okay, so Mac 280, yeah, that's what I'm doing, going down the list.
You say he blames Tampon Tim, and then go to Obama was the catalyst, and then facts.
Yep.
Great job, Shabaka. Shabaka's learning fast and correct. All right, well, is she suing?
Yeah, we're trying to. And I don't know what Dynamite is, okay? Because I sent him the link.
So she took a knee.
Yeah, so she took a knee, okay? And yeah.
Okay, so what is her next steps? Is she just gonna boycott?
Okay, I would imagine the next steps would be is to file a complaint. What's her next step?
Yeah.
Yeah, file a complaint. Yeah, I would imagine file a complaint, and then she might have to go into court with it.
Yeah, they said it was in a statement on uh, USA Fencing.
Yeah. Yeah. And have to go into court with this stuff. And it's ridiculous. And she shouldn't have to.
Yeah, so what do you think Westmore would have to say about this?
Westmore, who?
Westmore is the governor of Maryland.
Okay. Well, Westmore was saying Maryland.
He's the governor of
Oh
Maryland.
yeah. Hopefully, well, yeah. Well, yeah. So hopefully that he will go ahead and back her.
Yeah, hopefully. I doubt it though. That's what
Yeah.
pushing.
Because they are coming up here with this nonsense. Yeah, and it's ridiculous. Okay, so I don't know where Lightning is.
Well, if he joins us, Shabaki.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. 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 So that there takes care of that story right there. Now, also too, we got to call out these black politicians.
You keep like going in and out, Shabaki. Are you like pausing or something?
No, hold on a second. No, man.
I feel like there's a clip on this.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not echoing.
A little bit.
Because I'm getting a damn delay on here.
I can hear myself echoing. Yeah, there is a delay. Are you watching it on YouTube or Facebook or what?
Okay, I got to share the YouTube. Okay,
No,
I got to share the YouTube and Facebook.
Are you watching it though? That's the question.
Yeah, I am watching it.
Okay, that explains the echo then.
Yeah. Now, how do I remedy that?
Are you?
Yeah.
You got to close the tab that has the. I'm assuming you're watching on Facebook. Where are you watching it on YouTube or Facebook?
Okay, I think I'm watching it on YouTube.
Okay, that explains the echo. So you have to close that window out.
Okay, now how do I? Okay.
Or mute it or something.
Okay. Wait a minute. Now it's got to remove, but okay, it says remove at the top, view on YouTube. So I hit the remove button.
No, you want to keep it on YouTube. Okay. You should have another tab open and that you're watching it on Shabaka. You want to close that tab out. You got one of the tabs you have open, Shabaka, is you're playing the video. That's why it's echoing. So you need to close that tab out on your computer.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I closed the tab out on YouTube.
Okay. The
All
echo
right.
is gone now.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay. All right, yeah. Or turn to okay. Get out the shoestring and bubble gum.
Yeah.
Would you say Mac 285? Yeah, get out the shoestring and bubble gum or turn the volume down. So I did that. Okay. Now, am I being heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
That it's always half off.
Cuts by a Mr. Fuller.
You can get them on producejustice.com. That's producejustice.com. And what will come up
Now,
on
what
your
is
screen is an order form and the price.
This is what Nellie Fuller Jr. had to say about Blacc politicians.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's right about that. Okay. And then, like what we
Okay, I
and a
appreciate it.
description of it.
I'm trying to find exactly what he said. This is from 2013.
Okay. All right. And this here is dealing with the black politicians are against black people.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you. Go ahead, caller. Turn down your turn. Yeah, turn it down. Thank you. Okay, Brenda.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Brenda.
What I was saying was Obama is doing everything that he can. They trying to make it look like he's just partying, having a good time, and being lazy and doing nothing. Obama is doing a wonderful job, and we as black
Oh my God. No.
Obama's doing a wonderful job. Woman, are you out of your damn mind? It was due to Obama that you got this crazy bullshit up here in the first place.
Look at the date.
Obama's.
Look at the date, Shabaki.
Oh, okay.
He was in his second term.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
and what's going on with him, and of course here locally in Columbus, and in Dayton and other places around, we see quite a few black elected officials becoming the subject of a lot of focus in terms of investigations and a host of other things. There's just so many. It just all of a sudden there seems to be a plethora, if I can use that word, of a lot of this going on. Does any of this surprise you, Mr. Fuller? And what are your thoughts about it?
None of it surprises me. It's a standard procedure. And every black person who's ever running for a dog catcher should know right out of the gate that they're coming after you about any nickel that you ever stole or any piece of candy that you ever took off of a candy store counter in your entire life. That's the first thing they look for. If you are in the business or you got an idea that you can pull something slick and you're supposed to be a black politician over the white supremacists, they are the masters of slickness. And every so-called politician who is black and or non-white and think that they can run on any platform, and they don't have that in their head right out of the gate, that they are coming after you for anything that you ever stole in life. And if you're in the process of stealing anything now, they are going to be right in line to know it. Don't think you can hide it. You're not that smooth. They are the masters of hiding things like that. They are the masters of theft of any kind. So that should be known by everybody. That should be so routine by now. If you're going to run for anything, any kind of public office, or try to get any kind of public job, the first thing you should think about is, have I ever done anything that is illegal that I think that people don't know about? Have I ever in my entire existence done anything that is considered to be illegal and or maybe so-called immoral? They're coming after me, and they know about it. And if they don't know about it, they'll find out in about 10 minutes. So don't think you can get away with anything if you are coming under the label of a aspiring black politician and or public official, quote unquote, anywhere on the planet. The white supremacists, that's who I'm talking about. They know all about you from the time you were born and even before you were born. And if they don't know it and they want to know it, they can certainly find it out. You have to have that cemented in your mind. And don't think you can get away with anything, because they know how to get away with murder. And they know when you are getting away with it.
Well, it's quite interesting when you look at how it's starting to shape up, and how many of them. I really bring my attention back to two guys who a lot was expected from in the political arena, and their indictments or situations almost come back to back. One in young Kwame Kilpatrick, out of Detroit. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Mr. Fuller. He was the mayor of Detroit for a few years, and he was recently indicted. And then they came in. First, he served 14 months, and then they just got him on federal charges. I think it was 23 to 24 or something. I'll get the specific information on it. But and then of course, and that was right after Jesse Jackson Jr. So any key black people who looked like they had a future in that arena, now the latest guy that everybody's talking about is this Cory Booker, out of Newark, New Jersey. He's now being looked upon as someone who they just said today he had a 43-point lead over his nearest opponent. So it looks like to me that they're probably going to try to jam him in there, and then may run him for president again in a few years. I don't know, but Mr. Fuller, let me get your thoughts on what happened to Jesse Jackson and Kwame Kilpatrick in terms of in this way, in the sense of they being young, future. They were kind of like future leaders, or not future leaders, but future people who could be in a position to help black people in some way. Mr. Fuller.
Well, that's the way the system works. We're talking about we're in the system of white supremacy.
Right.
That supremacy, that both of those words are very powerful. If you stop and think about it, white supremacy. We're either in this system or we're not. I say that we are.
Right.
That's the dominant force on the planet. That means they are supreme in all areas of activity 24/7. They know everything that is going on with their subjects. That's logical that they would. It's just like a warden in a prison. You're not doing anything major in a prison that the warden doesn't know about.
Yep.
The warden knows about drugs being in the prison and whatnot, and knows about cigarettes being smuggled in or whatever, or knows about some of the other escapades that go on in a modern prison.
And you
because
know,
the prison is run on certain principles. Every
Right.
prison.
right.
And the system of racism is a prison. It's a world prison. And the non-white people on the planet are subject to the wardens, who are the white supremacists of that prison. So they know what's going on. You think you're sneaking this and sneaking that. You're not doing anything at all. They're sitting back looking at you, right at you, and laughing at you.
Mr.
And when
Fuller,
they get ready to spring their trap, they will.
now I want to listen to something interesting. This is allegedly from the federal trial of Kwame Kilpatrick. You know, his father was also caught up in that trial, Bernard Kilpatrick. And here's a clip from his father demanding something from somebody, maybe allegedly a kickback or something. I'm not sure, but I'm going to try to play it if I can. And I want you to take a listen to it.
I can't get your phone call at this time.
Now it's got graphic language, so I want you to be aware of it.
I will be on vacation until January the 7th, and we'll return all phone calls at that time. Thank you.
Yeah, man, this is BK. I'd appreciate a call today. Vacation or no motherfucking vacation.
Now, woo! This apparently was one. I mean, Detroit can get, I guess, kind of rough like any other place. But that's the trial of Kwame Kilpatrick. We're also looking at trials from around the country. It seems that there's a targeting going on, and that targeting is quite interesting, coming at a time where it's really targeting a lot of young and promising Black elected officials. Cory Booker is the next one that they're touting, and I wonder what's in store from him. But right now we've got Patricia from Los Angeles who is joining us. Patricia, welcome to the Compensatory Concept. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
Great. Good morning, Mr. Fuller. This topic is very interesting to me. I try to listen every week, and I've seen just about all of your videos, Mr. Fuller, and I understand racism and white supremacy, and I agree with you. It's here, it's alive, but I don't want us to make excuses for our Black people because of this racism, white supremacy. It has nothing to do with it. I don't think. I lived in Chicago, grew up there. And just the last few years, I mean, I'm in LA now, but I used to go to the offices of these aldermen and senators and Congress people, the Black ones, not the senator. And, because we had abandoned buildings in different neighborhoods, streets are nasty. I would go there and say, hey, can you do something? I wouldn't even get a call back. You see what I mean?
Wow.
So that has nothing to do with white supremacy. They're trifling.
It does.
And we need to quit making excuses for them.
Lord.
Now, that trifling behavior has cost them. You're right about that. Because with Jesse Jackson Jr., I'm from Chicago. He grew up in a fine home. And for him to do what he did, I'm not surprised, because that's how those Black politicians are. You go in their communities, I mean, you see nothing but blight. I mean, lots with dirty, filthy lots, buildings all abandoned. They could rehab those buildings, fix them up, put some homeless people in them. So I don't want us to make excuses for them. They need to have a conscience, do what's right. They wouldn't get caught. I don't even believe in this thing about getting caught. They shouldn't be doing it. They should be helping their people. Now, I live on the south side of Chicago too. I know exactly where Obama's from. I'm from Chicago. He's the same way, and he's bringing that same behavior into the White House. What behavior am I talking about? Working 2 or 3 hours a day, lazy, don't want to do anything, passing the buck to his subordinates, do this, do that, not using his head. That same mentality is right in the White House. Now, that has nothing to do with racism, white supremacy. We've got to get ourselves together. He got the highest office in the land. My great-great-grandmother died at 104. Grandma Frances was born in slavery. And they would turn over their graves to see him in the White House. And he's in there just as lazy as he can be.
Now, when you say lazy, what do you mean?
He don't want to use his head. He don't want to get in there and dig in and learn. We knew he wasn't qualified as far as his experience, but America said, give him a chance. We figured he'd get in there, and dig in, working
and really
18, 20 hours a day. He's not doing anything. He's sloughing off and traveling, going on vacation. He's not trying to learn. You got to get in there and dig in there like Clinton. Clinton came out of there looking like he was 20 years older. Obama doesn't look older. He looks worried. He looks worried. That has nothing to do with working hard. So, Mr. Fuller, we can't.
You're saying a little bit too much partying by these people who are in those spots.
And worrying. And see, when you do your job, you don't have to worry, because you there, you're on it. You catch things when they come in. You can't rely on your subordinates. You can give direction, but they looking to you for direction.
This is heavy. What? Ooh.
Right,
Mr. Fuller, hold on for a minute. Wait a minute. I want you to stay with me, okay? You're dropping some heavy dimes here, Mr. Fuller. Let me get your response. She says that when we say white supremacy, we are in fact making excuses for the behavior of people who are in positions, and they should know better and they should do better. Mr. Fuller.
Well, the system of white supremacy does not allow any Black person to do anything that the white supremacists disapprove of. That's got to be understood right out of the gate. We're in a system of white supremacy. I have a saying in the beginning of the book, both of the books. If you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works. Everything else that you understand will confuse you. And the white supremacists do not allow any black person anywhere on this planet, any minute of any day, to make any move that's going to be disfavorable to the system of white supremacy. They will let them make moves, and I understood this. I voted for President Obama, and I voted for him the second time, but that's only to get a little bit of training. I knew he wasn't going to be able to do anything significant because the white supremacists would not let him, even if he wanted to. So it doesn't have anything to do with what he wants and what he doesn't want. And that applies to any black person in a so-called position of power, because in the system of white supremacy, there's not a single black person anywhere on this planet is in a position of power.
Yeah.
That is
I know what you're
misnomer.
saying. I know what you're saying. And let me clarify to everybody what you're saying, because I understand. I'm deep. What you're saying is, excuse me, white supremacy controls it. Now, here's what you're not telling people. You have a choice, like Cynthia McKinney. They told her what she better do, and she used her principles. She said, I'm not doing it. And so they kicked out. She said, fine, I'll go and find something else to do. See, that's what we have to do. You're right. White supremacy is there, but we have a choice. If they tell you, you better not do this, and you can't help your people, and you can steal and do that, and you stay there and do it, then you're wrong. You're supposed to come on out of there, get some black people together, and we build and do something for ourselves. See, that's what you're not telling people. They have a choice. They're not just going to kill them. All that black caucus in Washington, they're doing is exactly what you said. White supremacy told them, the white supremacists tell them what you can't do, what you can do, and they're sitting there doing nothing. They're supposed to leave that office and get out of Washington. And that's the same thing with Obama. If they've got his hands tied, and he's not doing a thing for the nation, and black people either, he's supposed to resign and get out of there. See, that's not what you're telling. You're not telling people.
I can't hear you, Shabaka. Are you on the headset? You sound like you're distant.
Okay, all right, so the headset is shot to hell. This piece of shit. Okay, going to the Bluetooth.
Okay.
People that. You got to tell them that.
Wow, wait a minute. I want everybody to stay right there. Stay right there. Patricia, can you stay with us?
Sure.
Don't go nowhere. Mr. Fuller, don't go nowhere. This is I think, of extreme.
Ear trims, designer cuts. Contact Maureen Palmer.
Discovered who was on Dr. Phil's show to the Today Show will start right here on Talktainment Radio on March the 18th at noon. So if you get a chance, Mr. Fuller.
You can get them on producejustice.com. That's producejustice.com. And what will come up on your screen is an order form and the prices of the books.
Okay, I
and a
appreciate
description of the books.
Okay, thank you. One of the things that we were talking about was the 3 situations that are making headline news across the country. One is the lieutenant governor of Florida being at.
I can hear you better now.
Okay, I'm on the Bluetooth. All right. Okay, let us continue. All right.
Who had to step down. She is under an investigation. The resignation and I guess the conviction of Reverend Jesse Jackson's son, Jesse Jackson Jr., and the conviction of former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick. And all of these were young people that much was expected out of. Now they're saying in New Jersey that Cory Booker, the current mayor of Newark, New Jersey, has a 43-point lead over his nearest competitor for the Senate seat in 2014. So a lot's going on in black politics. It appears that even where I'm from, Columbus, several young black politicians have been targeted. 1 or 2 of them in the Columbus-Dayton area have gone to jail. It just appears that there's a lot going on with the targeting, in particular of black elected officials. Now, Patricia from LA believes that one of the things that we cannot do is make excuses, what she says are excuses for their corrupt behavior once they get in those positions. So, Brenda, I'm going to bring you in. You probably have heard the conversation, so I want to get your take on it. Brenda, you're on.
Okay, I just wanted to get Patricia's information so I could talk to her personal And I just feel personally, Obama is doing everything that he possibly can, because everything he tried to do to raise white supremacy changed. So
well, hold on for a minute. Somebody turn down your computer, because I'm getting feedback, and what I want the world to hear you, and it's important when we do that. Thank you so much, because we are on a delay. Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you. Go ahead, caller. Turn it down. Thank you. Okay, Brenda.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brenda.
What I was saying was, Obama is doing everything that he can. They trying to make it look like he's just partying, having a good time, and being lazy and doing nothing. Obama is doing a wonderful job, and we as Black people need to stop going against our own people and trying to encourage them. Because
okay, I'm still getting feedback. Somebody still has
hold on a minute. Let me go.
Yes, please turn that down. Thank you. Patricia, did you want to, while I'll give her a chance to come back, but did you want to give your thoughts on what she's saying?
This is over 10 years ago.
I want to mention what Mr. Fuller said earlier, how the white supremacists, they know everything about all of our politicians. They got stuff on them. They run like a J. Edgar Hoover on them. I mean, they're heavier than J. Edgar Hoover was. And so I think what's going on now.
Okay, Brenda, hold on. I'm going to let Patricia finish, and then I'll come back to you, Brenda. Okay, Patricia, go ahead.
I think what's going on now, and that's what you started to show with, why are they exposing all of these Black politicians right now? Well, there's a plan. The plan is they're scaring the others. See, this is what's going on. They're not doing this just for any other reason. That's how they got Jesse Jackson Jr. They're trying to tell all the Black politicians and the white ones, because they're getting ready to do some big stuff in this nation. It's coming up very soon. They're letting them know that we can get any of you anytime we want to, and we can send you to prison anytime we want. See, they're putting fear in the hearts of our politicians. That's why you haven't seen Rand Paul is the only one standing up, him and Cruz and a few others.
On the drone.
They're silent, right, because they've got some dirt in their closets, would send them to penitentiary for life. And so that's what they're doing now. It's a purpose. See, like Mr. Fuller said, they don't do things just to be doing it. There's a reason why they're sending Blacks especially to prison, in case the Black caucus get a big head, think they want to stand up and do something. So we're going to have some war. See, I don't want Obama being used. See, he's going to be used, maybe start a thermonuclear war. See, he's being used, and it's not worth it. He's got to get out of there. Now, he decided to go into politics. He may have to even give his life if he wants to step down. You know, it's just a lot of stuff going on right now. I can feel it. I'm a very sensitive person. I can feel there's a lot going on. And I say that when we get into politics and things like that, we have to take our principles with us. Even take your Bible if you have to.
That's heavy. Miss Brenda, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna bring you back in. Then I've got Prism from the Northeast. Then I'm gonna come back to Mr. Fuller. Go ahead, Brenda.
Well, look, I just need to talk to Patricia personal. I will give my phone number for her to call me after the show.
I don't want any phone numbers, ma'am.
Okay.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Okay, well, that's fine then.
Okay.
I'll just step on out. Okay, y'all just go ahead and do your thing. Okay.
Okay, well, I mean, feel free to stay in the conversation, because your opinion is also welcome here. I mean, we're all trying to work through this and figure out what's going on. So don't feel that way. I mean, your opinion is just as strong and solid as anybody else's here. Okay, so feel free to speak up. I mean, I'd like to hear more of what you have to say.
Well, I'm just saying that we as Black people shouldn't keep trying to talk against our own people. We should try to encourage them, no matter what they're doing, because Obama is doing the best he can do. It seems like everybody's against him. The white people, the Black people, everybody. You know, it's like he don't have a chance, you know, because he don't even have the support of his own people.
Okay.
And nobody can really say what he's doing, because you don't know. Only thing, the media is showing you of the little stuff he's doing and making it look like he's doing nothing. He's getting death threats every day.
Okay, hold on, Brenda. Let's go to Prism from the Northeast. Prism, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Brother Kahari.
All right, good to hear from you. Go ahead and speak.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you taking my call. I want to give my best wishes to Mr. Fuller and the guests that are talking on the phone. I just had just a concern. The caller from Los Angeles, I believe.
Patricia, yes.
Patricia. She said a couple of things that I find intriguing. She said, for instance, that based on her, I'm sure she's looked very deeply into the president's schedule. She has found that he is not working as much as he should. He's vacationing too much. And she also just said that Rand Paul and Ted Cruz are working very hard. So I'm to assume that she has information that many of us don't have about their work schedule and their daily activities.
Ted Cruz when
I
he
find
told
it,
everybody to kiss his
I find it
ass.
concerning that he would take the position that the president has not worked very hard. I've been paying attention to him for a few years now, and I haven't seen his work schedule. I can't say what she said and be absolutely accurate about it. But Mr. Fuller said quite a bit about this. He talked about the fact that his book wouldn't mean much if there was a solution to this problem. And Patricia sounds as if she's got a solution to the problem. So I was really interested in hearing her solution. What she said was not a solution. What she said was not a solution.
Well, let's give her a chance to respond, because I think you've said some pretty interesting things yourself. So, Patricia, did you want to respond? And then I want to go back to Mr. Fuller. Go ahead, Patricia.
Sure. I never said Obama wasn't doing anything. I'm talking about the substance. I don't know what his hours are, but I mean the substance of what he's doing now. Rand Paul, I mean, he, you know what he did? He staged that in Congress. I mean, the filibuster. I mean, for the NDAA. I mean, come on now. Who do you think is going to be arrested under that NDAA? Black men. They need more and more black men in these prisons. The prison industrial complex, that's going to be hit. Obama signed that. See, I'm not looking at his race. I'm looking at what he's doing. He just happens to be a black man. That's how I see it. I don't just zoom in and say he's a black man and here's my, I'm loyal. Now, as far as Cruz and Rand Paul, they
under the system of racism and white supremacy, if the president signs anything, it's because the people behind him that are practicing racism and white supremacy have required that he sign something like that. You're right.
Yes, the racism and white supremacy is there.
To racism.
But I'm saying,
I'm taking the position that Mr. Fuller takes, that we live in a racist construct, and anything that he does, he's going to do either with the permission of the racist, or he's not going to get it done.
I think, Prism, what I hear Patricia saying is that she understands all that. She just wants these people who are in this position to stop participating in the deception. That's what I hear. Am I correct, Patricia?
Yes. See, we have a choice. You can say yes or no. Cynthia McKinney says, I'm not going for it. She said, I'm out of here. They got her out of there. Yep. You have to do that. See, it's not about making a dollar anymore. This is the country, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. You got to look ahead 100 years. People looking a week ahead to pay the rent. You can't look like that. Come on now. This man is signing the NDAA. We're getting ready to try to talk about thermonuclear war. North Korea talking about sending something over here. If they do, China might follow them. I mean, this is getting serious. Hugo Chavez, he's been poisoned or whatever. This is some serious business here. If Obama can't handle it, and he don't want to go in like they want him to do, the white supremacists, like Mr. Fuller says, you're either going to do or you don't. He needs to step aside.
Let me bring in Mr. Fuller. Mr. Fuller, let me hear your comments on all of this exchange.
Well, all of these point of views, should be considered, and these suggestions should be considered. But then, where is the cutoff point when it comes to the step aside? See, we worked for years to get black people in positions. We say, there's nobody but white faces up there, and we're had to put up with that and put up with that and put up with that. So finally, we get one or two black people here and one or two black people there, and then over a period of several decades, we get a whole ocean of black people, and then the white supremacists who are still in charge of everything, including allowing, and I want to underline, allowing a black person to run for anything, dog catcher or whatever, president, leader of a so-called country. I'm talking worldwide here. The system of white supremacy, it has to be understood. You're always in it. There's no such thing as being able to find a little nook somewhere where you're not in it. There are no nooks. You're always under the thumb of the white supremacists. So any black person on any little school council or whatnot who says, Well, I want to get a playground for the black children. And the white supremacists sit right there at that same table and said, well, we gave you that position, but you're not getting a playground. You can draw a salary, you can have a good time, you can buy yourself a big house. That's why we gave you the position. But you are not getting a playground for the kids over in the northeast section of this city. Now, the black person can make a decision and say, well, if I can't get a playground for the kids, or if I can't get a library for the kids, then I'm out of here. And they say, well, goodbye, you know. And so we're still not going to do it. I mean, so what are you going to do? You're going to be on one yourself? No, because if we wanted your people to have anything, we would do it and take the credit for it. I mean, the only reason we got you up here is just showcase. See, and I've used that term showcasing all along. Black people, all black people, under the system of white supremacy, who have a so-called position of power, are being showcased. But we have to understand that. So what do we get out of the deal? The only thing you get out of the deal is that they get a little training in how things are run, because you've got to start somewhere. Otherwise, it's going to the back of the bus and they're sitting there and smoldering and talking about how much we don't like how things are. You even in a prison, and I usually sometimes point to a movie called Shawshank Redemption. And there's a lesson in that movie that even under the harshest conditions, even under the conditions when the prisoner didn't know, Andrew the Frame, he was a prisoner, didn't know what to do or how to go about getting anything done, he knew that he was in prison, and he knew that he couldn't do most of the major things that he wanted to get done, but he knew he would do a little better if he was working in the warden's office, because at least he could learn how the prison is run, and he could also learn all the things that the warden was doing and how it shouldn't be done and how it should be done. And that's all that black people are going to get out of any of these so-called positions, is a little bit of training, because they're not going to be able to do anything for black people that the white supremacists can't already do for black people without any black people being involved at all, if they wanted to do it. It's all in understanding the system of white supremacy.
But you forgot a part, Mr. Filler. You forgot a part. What you forgot is we cannot think that way, like, you know, quite what you're saying, Mr. Fuller, anymore. We can't do it because we're being destroyed anyway. So I say we go down fighting. So we got to, they got to come out of Congress. We can put everything together, build our own nation. If they want to come and get us, let them kill us all at once. See, we got to die now. There's no such thing as being scared they're going to get us. That's over. We're dying. Our children are killing each other. It's really bad. The government don't want to do anything for black folks. Some folks got to start dying. Dr. King was the last one to die. That's why we don't have a darn thing. Jesse, none of them, they haven't even been shot at. To tell you how much they're doing.
I tell you what, I want everybody to stay right there. Wow. This is a dynamite discussion.
Yes,
and this is the compensatory concept. We'll be back with Brother Prism, Sister Patricia, and of course, Mr. Neil Fuller Jr. and you. Stay right there. More to come on the compensatory concept exclusively on Talktainment Radio.
This program is brought to you by PlaySpace.
I don't know exactly what I'm doing in the studio, but I see Dynamite left us.
Did you add him? You got to add him to the screen.
Okay, I tried to, but I think he left us.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully he'll come back.
Because I sent him an invite, and I think he left us.
Well, hopefully he comes back.
I'm gonna try to send him okay. Oh shit!
Oh God! Now he gonna run for president. Now these Democrats.
Who's running for president?
They're trying to set Cory Boosie up to run for president in 2028.
And the only thing I can say about that is, Well, I tried to send Dynamite another invitation that says an error occurred. Please try again later. You motherfuckers and your bullshit. Okay. I'm going and proceed. Okay, well, first place, Cory Booker, who put on the minstrel show a couple of days ago. It was ridiculous.
You see, they was talking about him back then. They was talking about him 12 years ago.
Okay. And so, like I said, yeah, epic fail. Yeah, you're right, Mac 285. And that's a program that is designed to fail. You say, only thing he did is look like a great big ass minstrel. I don't know who the hell looked worse, or him or Uncle Sambo at the Super Bowl. See, that type of shit. You see, when the general public, ladies and gentlemen, those within earshot, okay, when they see us project ourselves like this, they don't have no respect for us because they interpret that of us not having no respect for ourselves, okay? Now, you remember when Obama was doing up there all that finger wagging to the young black men, you all don't want to vote for Kamala because you all hate women.
Yeah.
What did Kamala tell you? What did she tell you? I'm not going to do nothing specifically for black people now. So already right there, lady, you told me you didn't want my vote. You don't need my vote.
Precisely.
When you sat up there and said that I'm not going to do nothing specifically for black people, then why should I go out and vote for you? Because you ain't doing nothing serving my self-interest.
Because anybody but the orange man, Shabaka.
Huh?
Because anybody but the orange man.
Yeah, exactly. Hell, I might as well, man, should have went down here, saw a bum in the street and asked him his name and write him in.
Yeah.
Dude out there with a sign that says work for food.
Right in Mickey Mouse.
What the fuck we got to lose?
Yeah.
See? Okay, to the generations after me. Okay, see what's happening is when Dr. King got killed, very, very sad day, okay, which it was. Okay, but when you go out here and see so many years later, this man who, okay, what's that up there on the screen right there, Brother Chet?
What's what on the screen?
Okay, because I'm seeing something up here, man, that says add item.
Add item. I don't
see that. Yeah, it just popped up on my screen.
Oh, that might be Dynamite.
Is it Dynamite? Okay, you're trying to come. Well, if you can come back in, Dynamite, by all means, please do. Okay.
You got
all right, but what it is though?
It show up at the bottom where it says you're in.
Where it says.
Where it says present.
Okay.
It will show up down there.
Okay. Okay. Wait a minute. Present. Image file, video file, extra camera, slides, and PDFs is what I got.
Okay, and then no. It would ding or something. Like, I don't know how you have it set up on your end, but you can have it set up where it'll ding when somebody's in the studio.
Okay. All right. The only thing I got up here, man, I just see me, you up here. And then, of course, I see Mac 285's thing that she's right on point. And then it's got this. Oh, Lord. Okay.
You might go over
and then it had that up there. Okay. So I don't know what happened to Dynamite. Okay. We tried to invite Dynamite. He was with us, then all of a sudden he left.
That's because you didn't add him to the screen, Shabaka. So he probably was like, I guess they're gonna keep me backstage or something. But usually when he's backstage, he'll say something in the private chat like, "Hey, I'm backstage" or something.
Yeah, and I don't see him here. I don't see him here. You see? Oh, well. Now you got all this artificial intelligence shit up here. Okay, we got Jab Jamboree, salute. Okay, Twin Pyramid. Okay, Mac 285. Okay. And then Mac 285, and that's all we got.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are
All right, so
alive.
it's just you and me.
Yeah.
Huh?
A lot of people are alive right now.
Okay. All right. And I see we don't have a strong signal.
No, I said a lot of people are alive right now.
Okay, you said you sent invites to a lot of people?
No, Shabaka, you're having a hard time hearing me. I said there's a lot of people that are live right now. Like they're live streaming.
Okay.
So that's why we don't have that many people watching. Because there's other shows going on.
Oh, okay. So then it's just you and me then. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. So anyway, moving right along here because, how do we implement more effective Black businesses for our self-interest? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twin said it's a busy Friday night. Yeah, Twin, you right, man. It's something that told me, man, to do this here, man, on Tuesday night. But it is, yeah, because Friday night is always busy, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? Which is fine. Okay. So what it is, Brother Chad, now how can we, emphasize more Black-owned businesses to hire for ourselves? And then I want to talk on these tariffs, and then we're going to go on there to the assassination of Dr. King, and then we're going to call it a night.
Well, first off, Shabaka, not everybody is cut out for a business. So you need to identify those that are and have the means to start a business. And then we have to stress to them that they need to hire their own to work in these businesses.
Right. Okay. All righty. Okay, that holds a lot of water. And then on top of it as well, too, is that what you got to look at is because this is all what these other groups do. You see? That's all what they do is that they do for themselves. But for some odd reason, I guess, part of my office, Dr. Marimba Ani has stated that we are conditioned, to go out here and do for everybody else except for ourselves. You see what I mean? And then on top of it as well, too, when we go out there and do for everybody else except ourselves, then this is enhancing other groups to work against us in the long run. Now, hit us with a comment on that there, Twin and Mac 285. Let us know what's up with that. And then on top of it as well, too, we got to educate our own because you got all these HBCUs, but where they put the twist on us at is that here come these crackers talking about, that's reverse discrimination. Okay, now the part that kills me about that term reverse discrimination, this is saying that white America knows what discrimination is. They much rather that we be discriminated against, but they don't want for it to happen to them. Then when we talk about the horrors of slavery, then they sit up there telling you about some other group that don't concern us. Understand?
Yeah.
Once again, long-term version of boss we sick. You see? And then they don't even want to talk about the horrors of the plantation system. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Say now. Huh?
Look at the comments, Shabaka.
No, I'm sorry, you faded out. Say that again, please.
Look at the comments, Shabaka. Mac 285 said exactly, Shabaka.
Oh yeah, right on, Mac 285. Yeah, exactly. See that? Yeah, that's the point that I'm making. Yes, sir. And then when we come out here and want to emphasize doing something for ourselves on a positive note, they want to derail that. You see? Just what is white America afraid of in regard to us becoming self-sufficient?
Outdoing
them. And the stock market is tanking. Yeah, and the stock market is tanking even further. You know what I mean? Yeah, that damn thing is on a nosedive for real. Okay, but white America, you went out there, you got Donald Duck, okay, and I hope you're happy with him. Because right now I'm sitting up here laughing at your dumbasses for voting for this bastard. Same thing with you niggas for Trump. I'm laughing at you all the loudest.
Well, niggas for Trump, that was some crack shit. That was a cracker that was
Yeah. Well, of course it was. And them Negroes fell right there in line. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah.
And then, Hunter Biden, you know, he got pardoned by his daddy. We all knew that it was going to happen. So these Democrats and these reptilians are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
See?
So you asked about business.
They're two sides of the same.
So we need more capital.
Yeah, exactly.
Own businesses.
And we got to do more businesses other than entertainment, because entertainment is a luxury. It's not a necessity. You see, you're going to need auto body shops. You're going to need auto mechanic shops. You're going to need laptop repairs.
Yeah.
Say, Hollywood is a luxury that you could do without.
Yeah.
That's a luxury. You see what I'm saying? We need some essentials. And then we need some essential markets where we can go get money off these other groups of people that have been making money off of us. You see what I'm saying?
I believe Dr. John Hendrick Clark talked a lot about this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's Dr. Marimba Ani's professor. And Dr. John Henry Clark said, man, 25 years ago, back then, at the current state of affairs of what we're going on, and which he's right about, and he did predict the future then, the Black community will enhance, or for all practical purposes, will destroy itself. And it has.
Yeah, he also said if you want a friend, look in the damn mirror. That's the one I was going to play.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because we're so hell-bent on our self-destruction. You see? Yeah, there's Dr. John Henry Clark right there.
I would love to be here when I can be more fully in depth on this subject, because there's a whole lot of illusions about Africa's relationship with other people in the world. There's a whole lot of illusion about our relationship to the religions in the world. And these belief systems that had its origin in Africa, all of them, and there is no exception, turned on African people. I said there is no exception. And there's one thing you have to get through your mind and keep it. Nothing that ever came from the European mind was meant to do anything but facilitate European domination of the world. And I said there's no exception.
I've been saying that for the last 10 goddamn years.
Everything
and all I get is a bunch of hate mail.
Everything, every idea, every so-called religion was meant to dominate and to control. The Arabs had no illusions about it. The Europeans had no illusions about it. You were the ones with the illusions. And yet every element that went into the making of every major religion in the world started in Africa. Why is it that you are so naive? You let people redress something that you invented, sell it back to you, and enslave you through it. I'm saying that all organized present religions are male chauvinist murder cults. And I say there is no exception. Well, I wanted to be here earlier. I wanted to deal with our relationship with the people of the world and the fact that we created peaceful nations that had no word for jail because no one had ever gone to one. No word for old people's home because no one ever threw away grandma and grandpa. No word for orphanages. We did all of this, and over half of human civilization was over before we knew that a European was in the world. Before he wore a shoe or lived in a house that had a window. Now, Africa has always and still is the prize for the whole world. We as a people have always been the world's richest people, culturally rich, mineral rich. We have always been the prize because we have always had and still have something that other people won't, think they can't do without, and don't care to pay for. Because we have always been the prize, we have been under siege for over 3,000 years. Nothing that ever brought into Africa from the outside was meant to do the African any good. That means all other religions. Islam was the handmaiden of Arab imperialism. Christianity was the handmaiden of European imperialism. The Hebrew faith was the handmaiden of a concept called the chosen people. Now, if God is kind and God is merciful and God has no stepchildren, he won't choose one over the other. And to say he chose some people, you're making him a bigot. And to say that he endorsed enslavement of one people over the other, you're making him an accessory to murder. The Arabs used Islam to rationalize their slavery and their imperialism. The Europeans used Christianity to rationalize their slavery and imperialism. Who are you kidding about friends in the world? Damn it, if you want a friend, look in the mirror. There's 1 billion African people on the face of this earth. Why are you buying third-rate junk from third-rate people thinking you can't make it? Why don't you at least make a safety pin to hold your child's diaper together? Teach. Who has programmed your mind to thinking you can't make a car? The first man that made a car that had never seen one previously. The Japanese bought cars, bought locomotives, broke them down and studied them, and had a Japanese technician produce each piece, put it together, and had a much better train than the one they copied from. All knowledge in the world belongs to everybody in the world. Yes. Who has programmed our mind in assuming that we cannot run a nation and run it well? The main thing imperialism did, slavery and imperialism, they removed African people from the respectful commentary of history. And they tell them something they are still telling them, and all of the organized religions are guilty of this. I favor none of it because Africa didn't need any of it. I'm saying that African belief systems, properly understood, is 10 times better than Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And better for the African. So you might have some romance with one of these religions. I have no romance with any of them. I have a romance with reality and truth.
Right.
And the chips can fall where they may after I tell it.
Right.
As for friends, you have had no friends. When they discovered you, they began to prey on you. Now let's look at our relationship with Western Asia, mistakenly called the Middle East. For 3,000 years, our greatest enemies came from Western Asia. They were trying to avenge the fact that they were once African colonies. You read a book called When Egypt Ruled the East, and you get some of the basic information on this. Now, the first visitors to Africa came in the 1700s BC. These were the people who would later be called Hebrews. Now, black people are ticklish on this because black people think that everything in the Bible is true. I question the intelligence of anyone who thinks everything in the Bible is true or supposed to be true. It's allegory, stories told to illustrate a point at a time when there were very few people reading books. And most of what went into the making of the Bible was copied from Egyptian texts. Now, if you want to get so dewy-eyed over the Bible, which is a carbon copy of a carbon copy, why don't you go back and read the original Egyptian text? Then you see where all these stories started from. You see where the story of the Exodus started from. Now, you get so dewy-eyed, you actually think there was an Exodus. These people walked into Africa. Why couldn't they walk out? Why did they have to go by sea? Nope. Why did they see at the park? If you read Egyptian literature, you will discover that the whole story of somebody parting the sea started with about 3,000 years before the Hebrew entrance. I should not use the word Hebrew entrance, before the entrance from Western Asia. Now let's get one thing straight, because black people are confused about all religions. Now, I'm not against any religion. I'm a very spiritual human being. I just don't need a preacher to preach no 10 commandments to me when he's a backslider going with some sister, some other man's wife. I'm intelligent enough to pick from the 10 commandments, not commandments anyway, but they were omissions of purity at the great school at Luxor, the great African training school. All right, now, let's get into this Western Asia. I'm saying that the people who came from Western Asia escaping famine did not have any Hebrew faith when they came into Africa. And there's no record of a Hebrew faith before this. Why is it that when they left Africa in the so-called Exodus, they had all three? African culture, an African religion, and an African language. Now look at the origin of so-called people you now refer to as Jews. And you're mistaken using that reference because the word Jew is of European origin. And the people in Europe who call themselves by their name have no relationship to the biblical people of the Hebrew faith. And I'm saying that the people we now call Jews entered world history with that visit to Africa. And when Africa was invaded, 1675 BC, instead of joining the Africans who had been their beneficiary and saved them from starvation, they joined the enemies of Africa. No one has ever returned any favors to us. As a people, we have always been hospitable to strangers, mostly the wrong ones. Strangers. And what we have to understand now, in the period of superior brainwashing, is there is no European answer for African problems. Either Africans find a solution to African problems, or there is no solution. And if you don't find a solution soon, you go back into slavery.
There it is, Shabaka.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
So he was talking about, we've been talking for years. For years.
Well, that's why we created the hashtag resurrection of the mental dead.
Oh, so you were wrong, Shabaka. Lady Chase said, just say you were wrong, Shabaka.
Wrong about what?
What was he wrong about, Lady Chase?
The whole thing. Wait, what do you know? It's tough, Jessica. It's tough.
Well, it's up to Africans to do for Africans, Shabaka. So they're going to...
And I was wrong about what?
So we can't put on the cape for them, Shabaka.
Never get life.
They got to get right on their own continent.
Right. They got to be right all the way. And lucky.
Well, you see, oh boy. All right. This here's a complex issue. Okay. See, where we made our mistake is that when we saw that goat-smelling, unbathed, unclean, nasty savage, we thought he was a human being, but he didn't look at us as the same.
Exactly. That's what Dr. John Henry Clark just said. We try to befriend all the wrong people.
Yeah, well, but what had happened was, as Lerone Bennett has said, okay, hold on. Only thing what Dr. Clark did right there was prove Lerone Bennett right. What did Lerone Bennett say? They came with lies. They came with deceit. Sad part is, you had some of them Negroes over there that believe that bullshit. That's the sad part.
Yeah, they're here now. We call them tethers, Shabaka. They're here right now.
Well, and they still believe in this shit. Look at Cory Booker to prove your point even further. Look at Cory Booker with his minstrel show.
A whole video, Shabaka. This is how bad it is on the continent, Shabaka. I seen a whole video of this brother preaching that Jesus was black. And these Africans were straight up attacking him, like physically attacking him for saying that Jesus was black.
Well, it describes him as that he had the skin of burnt brass and he had the hair of lamb's wool. And there's only one group of people on this planet that fit that description.
So I can pull that video up. These Africans were straight up attacking him.
Oh, you should have seen the. You should have seen the one. Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, pull the video up. I wonder if this is the same one that I saw.
Yeah, the one I seen was on Twitter. Let me see if I can pull it up. They straight up was attacking this brother, and all he was doing was preaching the truth that Jesus is black. If Jesus ever existed, he was black. And they started attacking him.
And then what was even sadder is that they showed a picture of Kenneth Copeland. Oh man, this must have been about 12 years ago. Where all these African people were bowing down to Kenneth Copeland.
God, that shit was horrible. I remember that video too.
Yeah. You see? But the thing that I liked about Big Daddy.
Oh, Idi Amin.
Idi Amin Dada. Nobody fool Big Daddy. He had them crackers bound down to him.
Like him.
Yeah. They said, Idi Amin said that they say he has VD. Actually, he was very dangerous.
Hold on, ladies. I'm trying to find this video. Yeah, they did say he's very dangerous.
Yeah. Idi Amin Dada said he's very dangerous, and you saw what President Museveni did to Biden's representative. Where he said, "You want to come over here, fool, and wave the rainbow flag? We don't need your aid. Shake the spot." Then he looked up at him and said, "Fool, you still here?"
Right.
And you and I both, you showed the clip, Brother Che, and that fool standing there with his mouth open.
This is in Kenya, Shabaka. Look at this shit.
Jesus was black. They were infuriated. We've just read in the scripture. They got so mad they threw rocks. Why? Because a lot of you in Kenya hate yourself. You hate the way you look. You hate anything black. Why? Because it upsets your European colonizers. We went to a church yesterday. We were teaching outside. As soon as the church heard Jesus was black, they were infuriated. We've just read in the scripture. They got so mad they threw rocks. Why? Because a lot of you in Kenya hate yourself. You hate the way you look. You hate anything black. Why? Because it upsets your European colonizers. We We went to a church yesterday. We were teaching outside. As soon as the church heard Jesus was black, they were infuriated. We've just reading the scripture. They got so mad, they threw rocks. Why? Because a lot of you in Kenya hate yourself. You hate the way you look. You hate anything black. Why? Because it upsets your European colonizers. We went to a church yesterday. We were teaching outside. As soon as the church heard Jesus was black, they were infuriated. We've just reading the scripture. They got so mad, they threw rocks. Why? Because a lot of you in Kenya hate yourself. You hate the way you look. You hate anything black. Why? Because it upsets your European colonizers. We went to a church yesterday. We were teaching outside. As soon as the church heard Jesus was black, they were infuriated. We've just reading the scripture. They got so mad, they threw rocks. Why? Because a lot of you in Kenya hate yourself. You hate the way you look. You hate anything black. Why? Because it upsets your European colonizers.
So they started to attack this brother for telling the truth. You see how they was attacking him in the video, Shabaka?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, so what did Malcolm say?
How can we have police?
What did the X-Man say?
Hold on,
he had the field Negro.
Yeah, but
and house Negro.
That was over here, Shabaka. They didn't have slavery over there like that. So how do you combat that?
See that? Okay, you got to get rid of the neo-colonialism. That's all what that stuff is, man, is neo-colonialism.
Shabaka, the masters of the people is attacking him over there for telling them the truth.
I know.
That's not no outcry.
Okay, I understand.
That's not no exception.
Okay, I understand that, Brother Che, but what I'm just saying is it is still neo-colonialism. The Kenyans attack us, the U.S. bishop, for saying Jesus was black. Mm-hmm.
So how can you have cohesion? Yeah. You see, you keep saying it's neo-colonialism. Yes, it's neo-colonialism. So how do you combat neo-colonialism?
Okay, well, you have to educate the people, and you have to start going through procedures and develop procedures to dismantle it.
Educate them how? This brother was trying to educate them right now, and they attacked him.
Okay, but we'll see. But what it is, though, Brother Che, is that this type of knowledge, you would have to spoon feed it. It looked like, man, he was trying to give him a whole plate, too much at one time. You see what I mean? You have to spoon feed it.
Shabaka, they're not going to learn. They just in love with the captor. They're in love with the kidnapper. So, we just got to suck it up. We just
okay, hold on, Brother Che.
We're not capable.
But your generation can make a change on that. See, you have to spoon feed it. It's an uphill battle. I get you.
The people
it's definitely an uphill battle.
The people in this video are young people. These aren't old people.
I know.
These are young people.
I know.
And they're attacking this brother for telling them the truth.
I know. Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I literally had people go over there, Shabaka, and tell me that there's no hope for them. Like Maury, he was over there in Kenya for 4 years. He literally said the same thing. They try to come at you.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad, brother. It's an uphill battle. You will get no argument from me on that. You see? It really is bad. You see? But just like when old Sambo had went over there with that gay shit, they ran him about a Dodge quickly. You remember that?
Yeah, and you remember that's where old Sambo daddy is from. It's Kenya.
I know that. Now that's the irony about it right there. Now that's very ironic. I know. It's a paradox.
This bro,
a contradiction, which is true.
This video is fucking stupid right here. This bro said that we need to stop attacking big women because Trump's in office.
What?
So stupid. Listen to
It don't work for you the same. When people talk about Black women being obese, I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
You gotta drink a lot of water, sis.
what in the fuck is she talking about? Even Letty Che is like, what the fuck was that? That's the bastard that turned in
Fred Hampton
for $300.
You want to know something, man? You just brought back a memory, brother Che. There's a film called, okay, that's Dr. King's last speech right there.
Yep. I'm definitely gonna play.
Okay. There was a film that I saw with a dude named James Garner, right? Where he played Wyatt Earp, and it's called Hour of the Gun.
Yep.
And he caught up with the dude that set up his
I mentioned it in Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
Yeah. But first, let me finish saying this. Okay. James Garner played Wyatt Earp, and he wasn't nothing like Jim Rockford. I mean, James Garner was a writer in this movie for real.
Yeah.
Okay. So he caught up with the dude that set up his brother to get killed, right? And what James Garner said, he says, okay, what happened? The dude says, well, Wyatt, they paid me $50. And James Garner said, $50, huh? He said, hey, man, here's $50. Put it in your pocket. And if you can make it over that fence before I blow your motherfucking brains out, man, you may keep the $50, although he didn't say it like that. But that was essentially his point. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we understand that. Now, Dr. King here in his last speech he knew his time was coming. He didn't know exactly when. Okay. And he said, we will get to the promised land. You say, we as a people will
have seen the promised land. And I might not get there with you.
But we as a people will get to the promised land, is what he said.
Yep.
Okay. Now, it seems like that in the 70s, when we was making some type of progress, then your generation, Brother Che.
Well, not my generation. Shabaka, my generation is in the 80s.
Okay. Then that's
is Gen Xers. That's my parents.
Okay. Okay, but hold on, old Brother Che. And then that's when they came out with the rap records, you know, with all the derogatory comments about us as a people on ourselves.
That was in the 90s, Shabaka. That wasn't in the 70s.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Brother Che. Let me turn back the hands of time a minute. Okay, I remember the Rapper's Delight. That was 1980.
That was 79.
Okay, 79. Okay. All right. I was a few months off. Okay, but yeah, it was in that era. So then what had happened was, as they saw as the genre grew, okay, then they came with the gangster rap, with NWA, with Ice Cube, ECE.
That was in the 80s, Shabaka. That was the late 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. And then through the 90s, it skyrocketed. Okay. So then what had happened was, at the turn of the millennium, it became the norm. Now you had the white boys who tried. And of course, we saw that video where the white boy got up there and says, well, I'm going to say the word nigga too. And the brother who wasn't saying nothing there unleashed that picture perfect right cross upside his dome.
Yep.
I've done
that too, Shabaka.
He done right. You know what I'm saying?
Same thing when I was in college.
Yeah, you done right. You did right. You did right. You see? But what it is we got to get away from this racist institution of Hollywood, as because Tyler Perry's up there wearing dresses, and Mr. Perry, you're welcome to come up here as well too. Although you a billionaire, you might not have time for us. But Mr. Perry, when you sat out there and said that you was gonna buy Paramount Pictures, I knew, man, that you were gonna crash and burn on that mission, just like Robert Johnson did when he sold BET. Took his briefcase. Well, I'm gonna go buy United Airlines. What they tell Robert Johnson?
We already had an airline.
Hey, man.
What irritated me so bad about that, Shabaka, is we already had our own airline back then. We had Piedmont Airlines, which is based out of.
Sure, you're right.
We didn't need to buy no damn airline. We already had one. We just need to expand it and make it bigger.
Yeah.
But no, he want to go. Oh, I'm gonna try to buy this, and no.
No, see, the thing is, people, is that when you are building an industry, okay, you're going to have to give it at least 25 years, to make an impact. Now, what's happening right now is that Jeff Bezos is coming up to you with this shit. You see what I'm saying?
Trying to buy TikTok now. I heard Amazon trying to buy TikTok.
TikTok. Well, we're not even going to comment on TikTok.
All right, let me play the video from MLK, Shabaka, since this is the 57th anniversary of his assassination. And this
right, and then that will be our last topic, and then we can close it out. Okay. All right, let's go on with MLK.
What you say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
Yeah, that was part of it. That wasn't the whole speech, but yeah.
No, but Brother Shay, bring back memories in my mind. Okay. Go ahead, let it play.
No, it's just a minute clip. I already played it.
Okay, all right, but he did say that we as a people will get to the promised land, that he may not make it with us, but we as a people will get to the promised land. Yeah, now, I gotta all these fucking tethers, okay, to point out, and you remember the sister's clip, when she was up there with
the take.
Yeah, I just want to take.
Yeah.
And then the other sister, who cussed out the Nigerian on his own platform, and I salute her for it, where she says, "You stupid ass motherfucker, don't you realize that if your ass was down there in Raleigh, North Carolina in 1962, they'd be putting them fire hoses on your ass?"
Yep. But they wasn't there in 1963, Shabaka, because they wasn't allowing Africans in here like that. They wasn't allowing diaspora Africans in this country like that. It wasn't until the 1965 Immigration Acts that they started allowing them in large numbers like that. That FBA.
Hold on, Brother Jay. Hold on. I'm checking some mental files now.
And come to find out, we was getting damn tethers.
Okay, all right. Now that was Stokely Carmichael came out with his Student Non-Violating Coordinating Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that after that Dr. King was assassinated, that he went all the way militant. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Black Panthers had made him a field marshal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. I believe so.
Okay, and I did see Kwame Ture speak in 1974. I shook hands with him and everything. And
yeah, that
then
was my father's mentor. That was
okay, and then of course
mentor.
Yes, sir. And then of course, as you do know, that he himself also was married to Miriam Makeba.
Makeba, yeah. Okay, so this is what you were talking about, Shabaka.
All right. We got some up there blocking the screen again. What is that, man?
You got to add it to the screen. Add it to the screen.
StreamYard. Okay, hold it. Wait a minute, man. What is this?
Shabaka, at the bottom of the screen, I need you to add the video to the screen because you got access to all of that.
Okay, where it says add item.
At the very bottom where it says I'm trying to share the screen, next to where it says Che and Kruma. At the very bottom.
Next to the screen. Okay, the very bottom. Okay. Wait a minute.
Where the present button is.
Where the present button is. Okay, now I got settings, invite.
No, don't click on present. Next to the present, there's a box that I'm trying to share.
Okay. Because at the bottom of my screen, I have add item, more, mute, start cam.
Get out of that. No. Above that. Above where it says mute.
Above where it says mute. Okay. It says press Control plus D.
No, Shabaka. How did you add it to the screen last time, Shabaka?
Okay, I think I pushed the wrong button on something.
We got to do the tutorial with you because we got to get you up to speed with how StreamYard works.
Yeah.
Okay, Shabaka. So where it says Che and Kruma, where it says Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced.
Yeah.
Where my avatar is, right next to it is another screen. You need to add to the screen. There you go.
Okay. Well, it said add to stage. Okay.
Yeah, add to stage.
Okay.
68. Martin Luther King Jr. traveled to Memphis, Tennessee to lead a group of striking sanitation workers in peaceful protest. He traveled to the city amid threats against his life, which had escalated as his message grew from seeking racial equality to also seeking economic equality. The threats against his life were real. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis on April 4th, 1968. The night before his death, Dr. King gave a speech at the Mason Temple in Memphis to promote the plight of the striking workers. In it, he discussed a previous attempt on his life in 1958 when a mentally ill woman stabbed him with a letter opener in a Harlem bookstore. The blade was so close to a major artery that the New York Times reported if King had sneezed, he would have died. He used that speech to reflect on how happy he was that he had not sneezed, highlighting the great achievements he had witnessed. In 1960, students stood up by sitting in at lunch counters all over the South. In 1961, groups of Black and white Americans rode buses for freedom and an end to segregation in interstate travel. In 1963, Black people in Birmingham, Alabama, aroused the conscience of the nation and brought into being the Civil Rights Bill. He also spoke of the personal accomplishments he had made since the assassination attempt. If Martin Luther King Jr. had sneezed back in 1958, he wouldn't have been able to tell America about a dream he once had, or gone to Selma, Alabama to see a great movement there, or been in Memphis to see a community rally around his brothers and sisters who were suffering. On the eve of his death, Martin Luther King declared that he had no fear, that he had seen the promised land, and that one day the world would reach it.
So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing anything. My eyes have seen the glory of the Lord.
he was killed the next day. Shot in the neck while standing on the balcony of his second-floor room at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. He was rushed to the hospital and died within the hour. The ensuing manhunt for King's killer lasted for just over 3 months, ending with the capture of James Earl Ray at Heathrow Airport on June 8th. The outpouring of grief for King's death was immediate and overwhelming. His assassination shook people from all walks of life. White,
and
black,
then if I may say,
rich,
Brother Che,
poor. His loss was felt across the nation. Robert F. Kennedy, campaigning for the Democratic nomination for president.
What are you gonna say, Shabaka? It's like a minute left of this video.
Okay, is that as a child, I saw his funeral on television, and I did not know what I was looking at. I think I was about 8 years old, I think. And I did not know that I was sitting in there witnessing history.
Yep, you lived it, Shabaka. We just read about it.
Yeah.
Informed supporters at a rally that King had died, remarking,
killed 2 months later
we can make an effort,
in Los Angeles,
as Martin Luther King did, to understand and to comprehend, and to replace that violence, that stain of bloodshed that is spread across our land, with an effort to understand with compassion and love. Kennedy was killed 2 months later. Some argue the civil rights movement never fully recovered after Dr. King's assassination, but most agree his message of nonviolence forever altered protest movements in this country. His life continues to inspire generations of Americans, showing that those united in peace can be the greatest adversary to conflict and injustice around the world.
Now, also too, what Dr. King said a year earlier, okay?
This is Democracy Now!
I had been stabbed by this demented woman.
Oh, I got the speech now, Shabaka. I've been to the mountaintop.
Okay. And I've seen the promised land.
You know, several years ago, I was in New York City autographing the first book that I had written. And while sitting there autographing books, a demented black woman came up. The only question I heard from her was, "Are you Martin Luther King?" And I was looking down writing, and I said, "Yes." And the next minute, I felt something beating on my chest. Before I knew it, I had been stabbed by this demented woman. I was rushed to Harlem Hospital. It was a dark Saturday afternoon. And that blade had gone through, and the x-rays revealed that the tip of the blade was on the edge of my aorta, the main artery. And once that's punctured, you're drowned in your own blood. That's the end of you. It came out in the New York Times the next morning that if I had merely sneezed, I would have died. Well, about 4 days later, they allowed me, after the operation, after my chest had been opened and the blade had been taken out, to move around in the wheelchair in the hospital. They allowed me to read some of the mail that came in, and from all over the states and the world, kind letters came in. I read a few, but one of them I will never forget. I had received one from the president and the vice president. I've forgotten what those telegrams said. I'd received a visit and a letter from the governor of New York, but I've forgotten what that letter said. Yes. But there was another letter. All right. It came from a little girl, a young girl, who was a student at the White Plains High School. And I looked at that letter, and I'll never forget it. It said simply, "Dear Dr. King, I am a 9th grade student at the White Plains High School. She said, while it should not matter, I would like to mention that I'm a white girl. I read in the paper of your misfortune and of your suffering. And I read that if you had sneezed, you would have died. And I'm simply writing you to say that I'm so happy that you didn't sneeze. And I want to say tonight, that I too am happy that I didn't sneeze, because if I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1960 when students all over the South started sitting in at lunch counters. And I knew that as they were sitting in, they were really standing up for the best in the American dream and taking the whole nation back to those great wells of democracy which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1961 when we decided to take a ride for freedom and ended segregation in interstate travel. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1962. The Negroes in Albany, Georgia decided to straighten their backs up. And whenever men and women straighten their backs up, they are going somewhere, because a man can't ride your back unless it is bent. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been here in 1963. And the black people of Birmingham, Alabama, aroused the conscience of this nation and brought into being the Civil Rights Bill. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have had a chance later that year in August to try to tell America about a dream that I had had. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been down in Selma, Alabama to see the great movement there. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been in Memphis to see a community rally around those brothers and sisters who are suffering. I'm so happy that I didn't sneeze. And they were telling me, now it doesn't matter now. It really doesn't matter what happens now. I left Atlanta this morning, and as we got started on the plane, there were 6 of us. The pilot said over the public address system, "We are sorry for the delay, but we have Dr. Martin Luther King on the plane, and to be sure that all of the bags were checked, and to be sure that nothing would be wrong on the plane, we had to check out everything carefully, and we've had the plane protected and guarded all night." And then I got into Memphis, and some began to say the threats, or talk about the threats that were out, or what would happen to me from some of our sick white brothers. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
And I have seen the promised land.
Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing
seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Dr. Martin Luther King, April 3rd, 1968, the night before he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. The federal King holiday, which started in 83, was first observed in 86, has overlapped with Inauguration Day just 2 other times. First with Bill Clinton in 1997, and then again with President Obama in 2013. Obama also took his oath of office using a Bible that belonged to Dr. Martin Luther King. The King family has been extremely critical of President Trump, but the youngest of the civil rights leader's 4 children, Bernice King, said of Martin Luther King Day coinciding with the Trump inauguration, quote, "It's wonderful this occurs on the King holiday, the inauguration, because it reminds us of King," she said. You can see all of our Martin Luther.
Bernice is a writer. She was.
Okay, and then also too, people, to our viewers out there, there's a classic photograph of Mrs. King at her husband's funeral with her baby girl Bernice sitting there, and then Bernice King, as an adult, had made a video that when she heard her father eulogize himself, she thought her daddy was still alive. Okay. These were some trying times, people, that I came up in, and those of my generation. We have come a long way, but we damn sure got a hell of a lot longer way to go. Now, I know for a fact, with me, just off the law of biophysics, I'm not going to make it with you. Okay? But
that's what you say, Shabaka. But Shabaka, you're going to live to 120.
Man, 120, man, I wouldn't know which way is up. I'm just coming great, man. You know what I'm saying? Teeth all be gone, Probably have to wear diapers and all that shit, man. Fuck that.
Here it is.
Yeah, I can't wipe my own ass, man. I don't need to be here.
But
I'm sure there's a whole lot of people.
Strong determination to tear down the evil system.
Oh, wow, nasty.
On last Thursday noon.
Now, who is it?
This is the funeral, but
that's the classic picture right there of Dr. Coretta and her baby
in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's Bernice and Coretta.
When we ordered lunch,
right,
the waitress brought 1 salad.
You got Bernice covered up by Twins comment.
Took a small portion of that salad.
Yes.
And left the other. And then she brought another salad, which was to be my salad. And he took a small portion of that. And she only brought 1 quarter of.
I don't know what just happened.
Has requested that
and they probably sabotaged
we have the tape of his last sermon.
No,
played
old VHS tapes, Shabaka. This is the original recording on the VHS tape.
Okay. I think that's Dr. King's brother there to the left, right there.
Yep.
Okay. We all think about it, and every now and then I think about my own death, and I think about my own funeral, and I don't think of it in a morbid sense.
Yeah.
Every now and then I ask myself, what is it?
They're my daddy.
But I was going to say,
you got to turn on. You can't see the bottom of the screen.
If you're around, when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long queue.
click on the comment again.
And if you get somebody to deliver the unity, tell them not to talk to you.
Click on the comment.
Every now and then I wonder what I want them to say. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention that I have 300 or 400 other awards. That's not important. Tell them not to mention where I went to school. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody.
Yeah,
I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the walk.
What comment is that,
I want you to
Quinn?
be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say on that day
Okay, that says J Twin.
in my life the physical who were in prison.
Shabbat, where it says comments.
When
you highlight it, click on it again so it'll go off. We got it. Sorry, y'all. We got to go over the StreamYard with Shabaka because she's still learning. Okay, so where it says comments on the far right side, Shabaka, when you click on them, click on it again so it'll go off. Otherwise, it'll just stay up there.
Okay. All right, so I got show and I got hide.
Okay, click on it. Yeah, so hide. Well, you don't want to hide the comments. There you go. There you go. He got it.
No, is it gone?
Yeah.
Save it out of the drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other skeletons will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. But I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I want to say. If I can help somebody, as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a wherewithal, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian, if I can bring salvation to a world once for all, if I can spread the message as the master taught, then my living will not be in vain. Yes, Jesus, I want to be on your right or your left side. Not for any self-degree.
Yeah.
I want to be on your right or your left side, not in terms of some political kingdom or ambition. And I just want to be there in love and in justice and in truth and in commitment to others so that we can make of this old world a new world.
All right, and can you hear me, Brother Che?
Yeah, like 30 minutes left of this clip.
How many minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay. And then the memory I have of this is where they were carrying him to his grave in a wagon.
Yeah, they're about to get to that. They're about to show that here shortly.
That right there is what I saw as a 8-year-old child on TV, although it wasn't in color because color television it just came out at that time.
Yeah.
And I did not know what I was seeing at this time in 1968 until years later.
Right.
It was in a horse-drawn wagon. And I believe that Dr. King is buried in Memphis.
Yeah, I think
Am I correct about that? Or did they take his remains back to Atlanta, Georgia?
They either buried him on Memphis or they took his remains back to Atlanta.
Yeah, there's Andrew Young with the blue jacket on. There's Mrs. King, Ralph Abernathy, Bernice King, the baby.
Yep.
And by the way, when this happened, the Black Panthers went on a war path across the United States that you would not have believed.
Oh yeah, Holy Week. It was on a cracking.
Yeah. But Los Angeles was quiet. And then in the book called Martin, Malcolm, and King, written by James Cone, he did describe Dr. King's kitchen experience where he was in the kitchen by himself and he got filled up with a bunch of anxiety of what you see right here. And then Robert Kennedy was killed in Los Angeles 2 months later.
Yep. There you go.
Yep. So on our closing, people, for tonight.
Yeah,
okay, may Dr. King rest in peace.
At Atlanta Funeral Home. So yeah, he was buried in Atlanta.
So he was buried in his birthplace. Okay. All righty. He was buried in his birthplace. All right. And then, of course, years later, unfortunately, his mother was murdered as well.
Yep, in a church.
In a church. Yeah. Yeah. See,
oh,
you
wow.
can kill the message.
Do you remember this 60 Minutes interview, Shabaka?
Which one is this?
The one that 60 Minutes did with the MLK family in 1968.
No, sir.
60 Minutes, rewind.
In April of this year, America, the world, was stunned by the killing of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yep, that's Mike Wallace when he
In
was
December,
young.
at Christmas time, 60 Minutes went to the King home in Atlanta, Georgia, to see how his family was faring. We visited last Saturday with Coretta King and her 4 children. Mrs. King, I wonder if you'd introduce your family to us.
This is Dexter Scott.
Dexter.
And how old are you, Dexter?
He's gone.
7.
Now, this fellow over here.
This is Martin Luther III.
He grew.
We call him Marty.
And how old are you, Marty?
I'm 11 years old.
I imagine, of course, that you bear your name with great pride, your father's name. But are there ever any difficulties because you are Martin Luther King?
Well, sometimes there are difficulties, but most of the times they aren't because, most of the times there aren't any difficulties, but sometimes they are.
What kind of thing?
Well, like sometimes people ask me my father's name, and sometimes they tease me about my name and things like that.
Mm-hmm. But mostly
most of the time nobody teases me anything.
Have you decided what you're going to do when you grow up?
I want to be a preacher like my father.
You do.
And he did that.
And this is Bunny.
Yes.
Bunny.
And what are you expecting for Christmas, Bunny?
A bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
A horn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with her little self.
To your left is Yolanda Denise. We call her Yoki.
How old are you, Yoki?
Yeah, his oldest daughter.
Where do you go to school and what grade are you in?
I go to Grady High School and I'm in the 9th grade.
Inasmuch as you're 13, you're the oldest one in the family, do you have special responsibilities?
Well, since I'm the oldest and all, I have to watch after Marty and Dexter and Bunny, and they aren't really that much trouble. And when Mother goes out of town, I have to look after them. And it's not really that much to do. They're kind of independent.
I must say they are a handsome and healthy and pretty happy-looking bunch of children, and Yoki especially. I imagine that she must have been a real consolation at the time of the tragedy.
Yes, she was, Mike. She was really so much of a consolation to me because of the way she accepted this with so much understanding and so much courage, and it was so reassuring to me. And she said to me, "Mommy, I'm not going to cry because my dad is not dead. He may be dead physically. And one day I'm going to see him again." And she said, "Mommy, you are such a brave and strong lady. I don't know what I'd do if I were in your shoes. Mommy, should I hate the man who killed my dad in?" And I said, "No, darling, Daddy wouldn't want you to do that." And of course, I also said to her, "You are so brave, and I'm so proud of you." And I put my arms around her. And of course, she didn't cry very much. I didn't see her crying anymore, really. Mm-hmm. And she's been very happy and very well adjusted since, because she too feels that there was meaning in this death. You know, what my husband said so often, that unearned suffering is redemptive. And I think somehow all of us have felt that he gave his life in such a meaningful way, that what he lived for and what he gave his life for will bring about some of the changes that are necessary.
But let me ask you, Mrs. King, I think that some of us sit around sometimes and wonder if the death of Martin Luther King didn't leave the civil rights movement, for a lot of people, leaderless, rudderless.
I don't think that this is so. I think that if we're looking for another Martin Luther King, we won't find him, because he comes once in a century, maybe once in 1,000 years. But there are many other persons now who will come forth, I believe, and assume leadership that they never assumed before, because they feel that there is this need.
Yeah, like
the story will continue after this.
But as far as black leaders are concerned, I think that you'll agree. We hear in the papers, see on television more about the young black militant leaders. We hear names like Carmichael and Brown and Cleaver and Newton and Seal.
Newton.
And you begin to wonder if perhaps they are more followers than some of the older civil rights.
Okay.
Well, there are those persons who who at least say they don't believe in nonviolence as a tactic. But I tend to feel that there are many more people who believe, who at least say they believed in the things that Martin Luther King believed in, than there are who believe in violence and destruction. I think we tend to hear those people.
No, Mrs. King, there's a big difference between violence and self-defense.
And sometimes they are persons who whose message is exaggerated out of proportion very often. there is this determination on the part of many Black people who are called militants. This determination and this desperation, the fact that they want right now, and I do too. We want Martin Luther King wanted
not later down.
Equality,
now,
justice, right now. I think we all want the same things. Our goals are basically the same. But I tend to feel that those things that he gave his life for will become stronger rather than weaker, because he has become now a martyr for his cause. And many of the poor people that he whose rights he fought for have hope somehow. It's a strange thing, but they have hope that they didn't have before, even though he's not here.
Certainly your life has changed a good deal since last April, Mrs. King. What is your life like now? How much time to family? How much time to work? How much time to writing the book?
I feel that my primary responsibility is to my family and bringing up my children. And they need me, especially now that I'm the only parent. And I plan to, that is my first priority. Aside from that, of course, I am writing the book, and I will have to see it finished. And this is going to take a good bit of my time. I am
Coretta King died January 30th, 2006.
Still, many of these things are connected with my husband's work.
This may be a difficult question for you to answer. Will this be, can this be a happy Christmas in the King household?
She died the year after I graduated high school.
Christmas will be sad for us.
Yeah, she died 2006.
As it will be.
So she's been gone for 19 years herself.
This year.
I graduated high school in 2005.
I would imagine that the whole nation cannot really have a happy Christmas with these two great tragedies, and the other conditions of the world is still involved in the war in Vietnam, and all the problems of poverty and the conflict in our urban crises and so on. But I think that it doesn't mean that we will sit around and bathe in our grief. I think that
I'm going on mute.
Very often,
okay,
a time like this causes people to really reflect on the deeper meaning of, say, Christmas or any other occasion. I remember Easter of 1963, when my husband was jailed in Birmingham.
Yeah.
I had just had my fourth child and was still confined to my house. And he had gone to jail on Good Friday. And Easter, I had not heard from him. And I was very depressed. But somehow that was the most meaningful Easter that I have ever experienced, because, you know, Easter is a time of suffering, but it's creative, you know, if it can be creative suffering. So I think if we can look on this Christmas season as a time for reflecting and a time to think of the deeper meaning and the real spirit of Christmas, which should be the spirit of giving, and giving unselfishly. And I think if we think in terms of my husband's life and his death in those terms, then we will not be as sad. We will be hopeful, because in his death, there is hope for redemption.
Thank you, Mrs. King.
Wow. Well, R.I.P. to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who would have been Oh, yeah, man.
Dr. King would have been 96 years old.
Yep.
This January.
This January, yeah.
It would have been 96.
Yep. His
and
birthday
then
day before mommy.
Yep. And then also too, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna call it a night here from Sin City. Also too, I got to get more educated on this STREAMYARD business. And we're going to 2025. Okay. 50, 60 years. Okay, so I think what we're going to do on the next episode, Brother Che, this is tentative. We're going to look at our history as a people in the last 60 years. Because
get that in a 2-hour time frame, Shabaka?
I think we can get it in there, and then I'm going to have to make a note of the major stories to
I mean, I got some clips I can play, but a lot of them clips they leave out the Black empowerment era. So I gotta find the ones that have Black empowerment era in them because they talk about rights, but they completely ignore the Black empowerment era.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why they ignore the Black empowerment era is because they don't want our youth
You went on mute, Shabaka.
They don't want our youth. They don't want our youth to remember it.
Yeah.
They want our youth to come up here believing Transformers.
Oh my God.
Believing Stinky Birds. Believing Dumps. And we really got to show ourselves up, Black family. Okay, thank you, twin. Thank you. Yeah, we did the best we could, man, although we had a bunch of glitches in it. And as ugly as it was, man, that's the way it was. Now, another show that I want to do, Brother Che, is the effect of the Vietnam War on the Black soul.
I gotta go, so
okay.
Make sure y'all check us out tomorrow for Frontline Black News, Season 5, Episode 2, Part 1. In the meantime, make sure y'all like and subscribe to all of our platforms, Frontline Black News on YouTube and Facebook, The Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook, and Shabaka'S Blacc Experience Enhanced on Facebook and Twitter, now X. So peace, love, light, reparations and separations, and Black empowerment. Sharon Crewman signing out from the Mile High Income, an illegal migrant-fled city in a sundown town known as Aurora, Colorado.
All right, and this is Shabaka Sankori signing off from Sin City, Nevada, commonly referred to as Las Vegas, and we thank everybody for joining us. All right.
I have stood where once Jefferson Davis stood and took an oath to my people. It is very appropriate that from this cradle of the Confederacy, this very heart of the great Anglo-Saxon Southland, that today we sound the drum for freedom. And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
My first
time that America refused to give the Negro any land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates
in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. This is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Any problem for the masses of black people in this country whatsoever, but it does make the hand-picked Negroes be satisfied to slow down the cry of the masses. And a good example of that is as soon as the spirit of rebellion or revolution began to spread among the masses of black people in this country, and they began to take an active part, and they showed that they weren't confined to this nonviolent approach, then the government or the power structure began to sit up and take notice. And now, as you said earlier, the president is talking about new legislation and to put it, take it out of the streets and put it back in the courts. Why? As long as it's in the streets, it's in the hands of the masses of black people who will not compromise or who cannot be bought out. But when you put it back in the courts, then that puts it back into the hands of the hand-picked Negro leaders who will allow the judges and the other persons that are involved in this white power structure to slow them down. It's only a trick. And as long as the masses of black people are involved in the struggle for freedom, not integration, but freedom, respect as human beings, respect as men, and show that they're willing to die to be respected as men, then the power structure sits up and takes notice. But as long as this mass element is led, and when I say led, I use led in quotes, actually contained by Uncle Tom Negro leaders who hold them back, who tell them turn the other cheek, and things like that, then the white power structure isn't worried at all. They're only worried when they know that the masses of black people are ready to explode, and in exploding it will destroy some of the furniture in their house, and then they react accordingly. Weren't confined to this nonviolent approach, then the government or the power structure began to sit up and take notice. And now, as you said earlier, the president is talking about
rest in power.